Good morning. I'm Dennis Willich with Nationwide Southwest, and I'm here today to talk to Malachi Chandler. He's with Chubby's in Corpus Christi, Texas. Malachi, good morning. How are you?
Fine. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, we're thrilled to death to have you here, Mr. Malachi. Want to talk a little bit this morning. I know maybe this business has not always been your entire life. I remember you telling me some time back kind of how you got into this business, and why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, my career is in call center management. I had a 25-year career in that, but probably in 2018, my father-in-law began to reach out to me and let me know that he was having some challenges in his businesses in Corpus Christi, and he asked me to come down and help him, and I did. And pretty quickly, probably after a month of being down there, I realized that there was really just simply a need for a dedicated senior manager to oversee all of the different things going on and all of the changes that are always going on in this industry. So I had to learn it one step at a time, and each step along the way, and including my integration with this trade group, which has really helped me accelerate the steps along the way.
Okay. Well, that's good. And again, as you got deeper and deeper into this thing and you saw the operation that you were now involved in there with your father-in-law, Chubby's, then tell me, what were some of the challenges that you ran into that you had to overcome?
You know, some of the very early challenges were the fact that we operated without really having a merchandising strategy. I didn't really have one, and we sold Corsicana mattresses mostly on ordering and then order later for the customer. We weren't really have a stock process. We weren't established anything like we are now with Tempur-Pedic and Sealy. All of that took years to get that developed. And I go back to it. It started with Colby Horner, one of the representatives of Tempur-Pedic, coming by the location and saying, "Y'all aren't selling very much. You know, what do y'all want to do?" I debated about moving forward with Tempur-Pedic. We had Beauty Rest and Corsicana, and I thought, And I almost made the decision to let them go. And that was a real fork in the road. And I eventually had one of my staff members, a young man, when I told him what I was considering, he said, "You mean so-and-so will only be our only big brand?" And I just didn't like the way that sounded at all. So I went back and I recommitted to Tempur-Pedic, and we purchased a floor model line, and then we leaned into the training and the education. But the training and the education was also my very own. I found along the way there were many things that I didn't know anything. I mean, I was completely fresh to this industry. And so one step along the way, first the mattresses, then diversifying our stores to being mattresses and furniture. We did that through Ashley, the reps coming by. Had a very helpful rep, Jennifer Underhill, who was instrumental in helping us grow, a very dealer-oriented, selfless person that just did so much, providing data and metrics and opinions. And from there, we became very strong and incrementally, year over year, in Tempur-Pedic and Ashley. And the TSI and the Ashley model are really the two pillars beneath the organization in terms of suppliers.
I got you. So you ran into the fork in the road. You had to make a major decision. How's that turned out?
Well, you know, to not get too much into the weeds on the details, we were probably achieving about a $908 or $100 average ticket at that point in time in the past. And I didn't really understand how thousands of invoices wasn't driving more revenue. It wasn't until I began to really relate to the fact that I don't want to sell the lowest cost product to customers. And At first, I was apprehensive about that because of the customer pushback. It took time to realize that we could actually persuade customers to purchase better products. And the better products that we got, the more likely the customers were to buy those things. And in 2019, the last year before the pandemic, we had a fairly modest average ticket. And in 20, that's when we started taking the steps. Obviously, there were many interruptions during that time, but the laying of the complete temper line, the investment in the training, that the dealer reps are so crucial. And I'm not one to push back on them coming to the location. I schedule time for them to come in and do group trainings with our team. We just do everything that we can to look at the data and the information and to take it and apply it, to do the training. And it's a cumulative process. Every single month, Carissa Burkhart from Tempur-Pedic comes to our location, and we do a monthly meeting, an hour and a half. And then she also comes to all 4 of our locations and spends time in the location one-on-one. She's an excellent salesperson in and of herself. And when you combine all of those assets and all of the, pieces that she brings to the table, and then our willingness to invest our people and our business's time in that, I can't emphasize enough how important that has been for the business right there. I have competitors all around, and I've taken the competitors that have come over to work with me, and they share their stories of not really including them in the things that are going on and not really letting them talk to the dealers. That approach, I believe, is key to our staff development. And at this point in time, we have I don't even like to tempt fate when I say it, but we have a very low turnover with our staff. I mean, our staff are loyal and they stay with us. We pay them well. We don't alter the compensation plans. We do things to make sure that they're happy and that they're earning money. And they're here today. This is the first time I've brought some of our team because this is in close relation to where we are, and they are having a blast up here. They're helping me make decisions too, Right. 5, 6, 7 heads are better than one.
Yeah. Amen to that, Malachi. So as you came in, you started out, you really did not have a game plan there that you had to build out on and move into that. What, along the line, what was happening at the time you came in as far as marketing?
Well, that's a really good question right there. At the time, we were strictly in television. And my father-in-law, and his family before me, who had this business for, it's 55 years in ownership. My part is almost 8 years, but prior to that, they had a single location, and then they expanded that to a few locations, 2, and a warehouse, and they were strictly in television, and there was no digital marketing. That was not a concept in the business whatsoever. And I instituted a tracker program where our salespeople are tracking their traffic. We're trying to correlate where the customers are coming from. And it's harder not as easy as it sounds, because customers just answer top of mind. Well, I saw you on television. We've had television commercials for 25 years. And so it's a lot of the memory is there. None of them could ever really put their hands on what caused them to come into the store. And other than just our branding, we have big signs everywhere. We're ubiquitous in terms of in the area. So I realized that it wasn't really that was driving it. And television was really not doing it. I went to the presentations with KIII, and I went to the presentations with the other local television stations, and I wasn't able to gain a sense of confidence that they could really help us connect that television advertising was driving direct response into the store. So the person that we were doing this with, Jimmy Cuddish, I asked him if he had any recommendations for digital marketing, and he brought on a guy named Gary Cosgrove. Gary Cosgrove is a marketing guy in the Corpus Christi area that works in the legal space and a bunch of technical attributes. But as a side business, this is what Gary has done. And Gary started with a very small budget, $500. And we would go $500 a week when we would go measure to see if we were getting direct respondents.
Right.
I began to see them. And then so we gradually increased. No other variables, kept the scientific process simple, just these ads, tracking, what were the results. And gradually, we ended up turning off the television marketing and going exclusively to digital marketing through social media. And then we developed a series of ad strategies that are very measurable, specifically a coupon. So a customer is we blast a coupon onto Facebook, and we pay for it. It offers a thing, and the customers will either click on the ad and bring it in, or they will make reference to it. And when they come in the store, interested in or knowledgeable of the ad, that's it right there. And it has been a incredibly tried and tested process. We've done other forms of marketing, geofencing. We brought on third-party marketing firms and let them do things. We've gone back and done television marketing. We've done radio. We've done all of that. But the bread and butter and the thing that is most consistent and most predictable has been the social media marketing.
Okay. So, and you figured out what worked, and that was a process that took time and money to go through it. You figured it out, you got it running. So from the day you took over and you were doing so much volume and you worked on these processes, you put a game plan together, where did that take you from where to where?
That's excellent. So in 2018, I was only a part of the business for a very short time period, and it did $1.8 million. The next year, where we actually had all of the stores open and operational in stock, we did $2.8 million, and then we went up to 3.8. Now that 3.8 was in that pandemic, and in those two pandemics, that 2.6, 3.8. So we did exactly, dipped off a little bit, but last year, 2024 was a growth year, a growth on top line revenue by 6.5%. But even more on our bottom line revenue. We stabilized many business processes with product acquisition and whatnot, and we were able to make money last year.
Well, that's great.
It was.
What volume did you get to?
Last year we did $3.8 million, 2,700 invoices. The prior year it was $3.6 million, and it was 2,500 invoices. So we had growth in all of our areas. Where was our growth? Our growth was in Ashley. One of our sales reps, when I first hired her, she gave me examples of the places that she had worked at. And one of them, you should bring on Ashley. So I brought on the rep, and a very, very, very helpful person and a very dealer-focused support person. And we started very small with just their stationary sets, and then year over year. So just as an example, we did $384,000 in 2022 in Ashley, $589,000 in 2023, and $980,000 in 2024. So we've had 150+% growth year over year. And that has been the biggest benefit to the business. Of course, it's our merchandising and our displaying. We go and we secret shop like crazy. We get the point of sale. We look at the way people are laying things out. We lean into our marketing for the products that are most likely. We're very data driven. When we talk to Ashley, we go strictly with the best sellers, not the best sellers on the national level, the best sellers in our territories. And so through looking at the data and staying right on the center of the target, and not varying too far like so many do, and it has produced a better conversion, a better result. And the other aspect of it is the cross sale, because for so long we were a mattress concentric business. That was the focus of our business, with a subline on rustic furniture, but that really wasn't the primary focus. It's been mattresses for decades. But the Ashley addition has made it case goods and furniture be far more significant to the business. And now they have overtaken the mattress business. And it just continues to operate like this right now. So now when a customer comes in, because of our legacy of being a mattress retailer, we cross-sell. Okay, great. We've got excellent mattresses. Let's take care of you. Do you need a new bedroom set? How about a living room set? And we perfect the technique of the ask, when to ask, when in the process to ask. And all of these things are constantly in a state of development. Even here at the trade show, the staff is being exposed to all of these different things, and it expands their horizons. Each year that has occurred with us. Even right now, we're looking at all of the things that we've seen here at the trade show. Oh goodness, there's 20, 30 actionable items that we can take. But over the course of the next 2 days, we'll coalesce that down into 3 or 4 actionable items and then a few wish list items. And we'll prioritize and focus on the ones that we're going to do. And then we'll see what's left over for us to work on.
Speaking of the show here, do you, we feel that, and I've said this ever, I think one of the strongest assets of this show is getting together with dealers, members like yourself from all across America and sitting down, maybe having lunch, doing this, talking to somebody, telling your story, and then referring things back to you, challenges that they've had and how they've overcome them. We find networking from these shows to be one of the greatest assets of the show. In other words, we could probably take the show, put it all out on Zoom, and have all the vendors get on Zoom say, hey, we got washers and dryers, we got beds, and this is the price and all that, right?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, and it's good to see the reps and be eye to eye, but at the end of the day, I find that the real asset of these shows, and more of the members come to me to say, hey, last night I was over here having dinner or at lunch, and I ran into this guy from Chicago, and I started chatting with him, and man, I learned some things, and I figured out some of my problems just by chatting with him. Do you feel that same way?
Oh, absolutely. I am rushing to get to the breakfasts. They're the ones that I find the most amount of time to interact with the customers. People are not, caught up in the events of the day just yet, and it's more contemplative. But I really find that I'm just rushing to try to look in somebody and see and then I get on the table and I immediately engage and I don't hold back. And I keep my mouth shut and listen to what they have to say too. But I want to tell them my story also,
Amen. That's what I said. It's a dialogue. It's a two-way street in this thing. And we find that this thing really, really works well. Well, I want to tell you something. It's been exciting for me to sit down. I mean, I've known you for a lot of years here, and you listen to you, and we've talked a lot of times, and this is just a great opportunity for me to sit down. You've one-on-one, tell your stories. I'd love to hear what you got to say, and you're very interesting in the way you present yourself. So, Malachi, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.